Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, you're in for a rant. Because although the title is saying something like the 3 worst ways you can start your book or something like that, this is not an all-around thing. This is more of a pet peeve, so please don't do it. Let's get started. There are so many ways to start your story, and they can be strong, impactful, emotional, insane, bizarre, bit confusing. Who knows? There are so many ways. To make a video would probably go on for hours and would end up being a live stream or podcast of some sort, and I just don't have the time for that. However, in those countless ways to start stories, there are also very weak ways, very boring ways, and just all around uninteresting ways that are just so repetitive and cliche or just dull and no one wants to see them. And these are my personal top 3 irritating starts to books. I don't recommend anybody does this. If you found a way to make it work, then good for you. I've never seen it. I've never seen these done well. I've never seen these being done in a creative and unique way. Again, this is all personal preference, but they're not recommended for anybody. Again, this is all personal preference, but I will rarely continue any book that starts in these ways. There are more than 3. There are way more than 3. But today, for lack of time and for a little bit more fun, we're just going to be focusing on 3. Have I rambled enough? Let's get started. Number 1. This is very popular in young adult fiction, in, you know, the teenage years kind of fantasy, where the main character wakes up and starts a day that just shows how gosh darn ordinary they are. Bonus points if they've just woken up from a very crazy dream that makes no sense but is clearly hinting to what their future is holding. They wake up, whoa, that was weird. Let's go into the bathroom where I can get dressed for the day and describe my appearance in the mirror, which I do every morning. I mean, who doesn't do that every morning, where they just wake up, go to the bathroom and say,
My own blue eyes stare back at me as I put my glasses on, and I begin brushing my wildly curly hair.
It's just, no one looks at themselves in the mirror and lists off everything, and no one goes about their day commenting constantly of how ordinary things is. I go to school where I meet my ordinary friends who are a little bit quirky. And there's the one ethnic minority friend, just in case this gets made into a movie and the studio can't call me racist. By all means, if you're going to use an opening where the character does have to live through their day, because we all need that contrast. We do need to see where they are in order to really appreciate where they're going and where they are at the end of the story. We need that contrast. We need a bit of normality to see what their life is. But when you start off at the very, very beginning, from them having a bizarre dream or just waking up and going through the process of getting ready for school and leaving the house and a minor interaction with parents that guaranteed we're never going to see again, it just feels really dull and boring. We've lived this life. We are living this life right now, so it's not making it relatable, it's making it boring. If you're going to have a this is their day or this is their life kind of thing, then sprinkle a bit of abnormality in there just so they have something to comment on. For example, in my first branded story, I have the main 3 before the other 3 join in, and for those 3, you do have to see where their lives are after this horrific event that happened in the prologue. So it was very tricky to try and whittle down 3, this is where they are now and these are the lives they're living, into short, snappy moments, and I'm still rewriting that because editing's fun. But I didn't start every single one off with they woke up and this was their day. I start off in the middle of their day, where they're at the peak of normality or irritation with their normality. So with my character Vanessa, you see her in a bit of a weird job. you know, she's trying to make money, so she does have like a normal coffee shop job, but that's, you know, very little is mentioned of that. No, I start her part of the story when she's in the middle of her other job, where she is pretending to be a clairvoyant. She is a con artist. She goes to people's houses pretending to be able to speak with the dead, and that is where I start her story. It's part of her normal life. You see where she is now, but it's not our level of normal. So when she goes through that and then goes to her coffee shop job, you see this double life that she's trying to live, and seeing how this traumatic event has affected her. She can't trust anybody, she feels like she needs to be a liar, she feels like she constantly needs to hide. Jumping to Milo then, he's very happy with the whole, I want to live the most normal life possible, because, again, this trauma was just such a big thing on him. He now thinks, I've had enough adventure for a lifetime, nobody even look at me kind of thing. So you see this conflict where he's letting himself get beaten down mentally and just being a complete yes man, because, again, that's not our level of normal. That's his level of normal. I could go on. I really could go on. Do not start your story with this over-the-top,
My life is completely normal. Gee willikers, I hope nothing whimsical and magical happens.
because it's boring and has been done so many times before. Can we just stop it, please? If you're going to show their normal life, then there needs to be something that is different to the average normal that is normal for them to capture our attention and let their character come through. The second weak way that you can start a story is actually a bit of a controversial one, and that is starting your story in the middle of an action scene. If you suddenly drop your readers in the middle of a battlefield, you do not know what the hell is going on. You're looking around, people are dying everywhere, and you're thinking, yeah, but that's an interesting, fun way to start the story, because action's happening everywhere. Like, yeah, action is happening everywhere, but if we don't know why that action is happening, or if we're not introduced to a character to hold our hand in the middle of this action, then it all seems very confusing and over the top, and it can be a bit of a information sensory overload at once. So if I started a book and it was in the middle of a battleground or a war scene, or, you know, people are dying everywhere, it's like high stakes action, or maybe someone is trying to, like, you know, a big gang of people is just trying to like storm a castle or something like that, it'd be like, okay, this is cool, but why do we not get a reason? Do we not get build up? It just seems like you're trying to run before you can walk. It's like you're trying to get your readers to care about this big thing that's happening, but not giving us a reason to. Introduce us to characters first, and maybe if you're going to do like starting with the battle scene, at least let us get to know the characters a little bit first. Maybe show their nerves, maybe reference the amount of planning this took, maybe fear, maybe the fact that they've lost someone, maybe they're trying to find someone. Give us a bit of character before you throw us into the action, otherwise all we're getting is a lot of movement and a lot of blood and gore without anyone to actually care about, and it's a struggle to get your head around. And no, it's just a me thing, it's a personal thing. I really love character development, and I love getting attached to characters. I love just adopting all of the little baboos that you are reading about. I love that stuff. So if you don't give me any of that and just drop me into a scene where a lot is happening at once to people that I do not know and don't know if I should care about, it just kind of feels like you're trying to shove this over-the-top political world in my face without actually giving me any substance to hold on to. Introduce someone first. Give me a bit of heart and emotion before you give me action. That's just me. And my third pet peeve, my third do not start your book this way, is when they give you a clip from the end of the story as your prologue or your chapter 1. So, for example, if a character is about to walk to their death and they're giving this big monologue of,
Woe is me, the friends I have lost, the things I have seen, and now the only way to fix this is to hand myself over, and I accept death.
That's great, love, but who are you? You've already shown me a big chunk of development with no explanation and no substance, and it doesn't make me curious to see what's going on. All it's telling me is, yeah, this person's gonna go and sacrifice themselves, yeah, a load of people have died, yeah, a load of stuff has happened and it's driven the character to death, so yay. It's just a load of spoilers in my opinion. It's just kind of like, yeah, you know, oh, look at where this character's gonna go, look what's gonna happen, don't you want to know how they go there? Well, no, because now everything I'm reading, I'm going to have that at the back of my head, and it's going to completely take me out of the here and now and what that character is doing at the beginning and the middle, because I already know the end! And also, 9 times out of 10, when a character is supposedly walking to their death as a, you know, a flash forward, guaranteed they're not going to die, and it's just going to be a massive pull the rug out from under you, and it's just cheap. If you really need to do a flash forward, maybe don't have your main character as the focus. Maybe have it from a mentor's perspective or an outsider's perspective. Hell, maybe even have it from the bad guy's perspective, because then at least you have something different and new, and then when you get to that point, you'll see that you followed your main character, and then things start happening, and then you start linking it to what this other random person said about the end of the story, and you're like, oh, this is linking to this, and this is linking to that. The main character has no idea. I don't even have any idea, but I know something's about to happen. Where's it gonna go? When it's from the main character's perspective, it just feels like a massive cop-out, because they just give so many spoilers. So many. And it doesn't make me interested to see the development they go through, because all I'm thinking of is, yeah, but you're not that person yet, and I know you're going to get to that point, so why should I care about what you are now when I've already seen what you're going to be? That's just me. That is just a me thing. Has anyone else noticed that the 3 things I've mentioned are a beginning, a middle, and an end? Beginning your story from a person's average day, starting in the middle of an action scene with no explanation to what's going on and no character introductions, and starting your story at the end of the story. The 3-act structure! It all makes sense now! I could go on so many more tangents of bad story openings and pet peeves, but this video is probably already getting long enough already. Those are my top 3 ways that I hate stories to start. And if you started your stories in that way, that is not me crapping all over your story or anything like that. It is just a camera. I have no idea what happened, and I do not know how long it was like that. I'm sorry. As I was saying, if you've started your story off like that, I am not crapping on your story at all. They're just personal things. Those are just pet peeves that I do not like. And if you've managed to find a way to make them unique and different and creative, then by all means, I want to hear about them. I want to see the exceptions to these rules, because that is what writing is all about. It is finding creativity and exceptions to rules that have been set, and finding bizarre loopholes in all of these tropes. That is what I live for. So if you found ways to make these 3 things different, by all means tell me about them. I really, really want to know. No sarcasm. I want to see the exceptions. But as of right now, I have not seen any stories that have gripped my attention by having an opening like these 3. Personal preference, but there we go. I'm going to end this video here. At some point I might do my 3 favourite ways that a story opens up, but we'll see how things go. I hope your writing is going well, I hope you're having a great day, week, month, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye, my scribblers.